Here is my wife's 2018 GTI. It's a wonderful car and we both love it. But it wouldn't be fair to tell the story about this car without first telling the story about this car. A custom-ordered 2018 Mustang EcoBoost. The story begins back in late 2017. My wife was driving a 2009 Honda Civic at the time, and after 8 years of driving it, she was getting the new car itch. But she wasn't sure what to get next. First on her list were practical cars. So we went to look at crossovers like the Subaru Crosstrek and Forester, but we weren't wowed by them. Over Thanksgiving weekend, the Central Florida International Auto Show was in town, so we went to see what was on display. Ford was doing a ride and drive, allowing people to test drive some of their new cars and trucks. One of those cars was the new Mustang GT. It had an automatic transmission, so I wasn't very interested, but my wife wanted to try it. So we waited in line for about an hour and my wife got behind the wheel. This was the first time she ever drove a sports car, and as you might imagine, she loved it. After driving a Honda Civic for so long, this car felt like a rocket. After the test drive, Ford gave us a $750 voucher to be used towards the purchase of any new Ford within 90 days. After driving the Mustang, we went inside to the main show area to look at the other cars and stopped at the Subaru section. There was a white BRZ and my wife got inside. She liked the way the seats felt and I showed her how to push the clutch in and move the shifter. She was beginning to like sports cars. The Subaru representative saw us sitting inside the BRZ and started explaining to my wife all the joys of driving a manual transmission. We were given a $500 voucher good towards the purchase of any new Subaru except the Crosstrek within the next 90 days. In the weeks after the auto show, I started teaching my wife how to drive a manual transmission in my Toyota Yaris and even once or twice in my Mustang GT. It was very difficult for her at first, but she kept trying and got a little better every time. She was determined to master the manual transmission. We went back to a Subaru dealer, this time to look at the BRZ. We took it for a drive, but it felt underpowered, which is the typical complaint of the BRZ. But while we were there, we also drove a 2018 WRX. This car put a smile on both our faces. It was quick and fun to drive. When we left the dealership, we added the WRX to the list of possible replacements for the Honda Civic. Every day we would search YouTube to see videos on the pros and cons of the different cars we had test driven. Oddly enough, my wife found a video called "Why Did My Wife Buy a New Ford Focus ST Instead of a Subaru WRX?" So after watching that video, we were off to a Ford dealership to try the Focus ST. We both thought it was really nice and lots of fun to drive, but the seats were very tight and tilted back at an angle that you could not change. The interior was full of hard plastic too, and it looked a bit dated. While we were at the dealership, we learned that for about the same price, you could get a fully loaded EcoBoost Mustang. After comparing the features and pricing with the other cars we looked at, the Mustang was the clear winner. So my wife ordered an EcoBoost Premium with black accent package, digital gauge cluster, and yes, a manual transmission. As you can see, it turned out to be a beautiful car. In part 2 of the EcoBoost story, I will explain what happens after we ordered a car. As you might have guessed, things don't go exactly as we thought they would.